Before we begin tonight's story, there is a question that quietly follows many of us through life. What if the decision that changes everything doesn't feel important when you make it? What if the moment God uses most powerfully is not the moment you stand before a crowd, achieve something great, or witness a miracle? What if it is simply the moment you choose to stay? Tonight's story begins with two women standing on a dusty road, both carrying more grief than they can explain, and neither of them realizes that history is about to change. The story begins during a difficult season in Israel. A famine had spread across the land. Food was scarce. Families struggled to survive. A man named Elimelech left Bethlehem with his wife Naomi and their two sons. Together they traveled to the neighboring land of Moab in search of a better future. At first, the decision probably seemed wise. There was food in Moab. There was hope in Moab. There was survival in Moab. But life does not always unfold the way we expect. Somewhere along the way, Naomi's husband died. Suddenly, the woman who had traveled with a family was left alone with only her two sons. Years passed. Her sons married Moabite women named Orpah and Ruth. Perhaps Naomi thought the worst was behind her. Perhaps she believed life was finally becoming stable again. But then tragedy struck a second time, and then a third. Both of Naomi's sons died. The woman who had once crossed the border with a husband and children now sat in a foreign land with none of them beside her. Imagine the silence. Imagine the empty places at meals. Imagine the memories that seemed to appear everywhere she looked. The Bible does not tell us every thought Naomi had during those years, but it tells us enough. She was broken. She was grieving. She felt abandoned by life itself. When news reached Naomi that food had returned to Bethlehem, she decided to go home. There was nothing left for her in Moab. No husband, no sons, no future she could see. Only memories. So she began the long journey back. Orpah and Ruth started walking beside her. Three grieving women, one uncertain road. But somewhere along that road, Naomi stopped. She turned toward her daughters-in-law and told them to go back. Go back to your families. Go back to your people. Go back and build a life. Why should you stay with me? What can I possibly offer you? Naomi was being practical. She was being honest. She believed her story was over. Orpah wept. She loved Naomi. Leaving was not easy, but eventually she kissed Naomi goodbye and returned home. And then there was Ruth, standing there, not moving, not leaving, not turning around. Naomi urged her again. Your sister-in-law has gone back. You should go too. But Ruth's response would echo through history. Words spoken by an ordinary woman on an ordinary road. Words that people still remember thousands of years later. Do not urge me to leave you or to turn back from following you. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Think about what Ruth was really saying. She was choosing uncertainty. She was choosing sacrifice. She was choosing a future she could not see. She was leaving behind her homeland, her culture, and every familiar thing she had ever known. And she was doing it for someone who believed her best days were already behind her. Ruth had no guarantee that life would improve. No promise of comfort, no promise of success, only loyalty, only faith, only love. And sometimes, those are the very things God uses most. The two women continued their journey together until they arrived in Bethlehem. The town buzzed with excitement. People recognized Naomi. Could this really be her? After all these years? But Naomi felt like a different person. She told them not to call her Naomi, which means pleasant. Instead, she said, "Call me Mara," meaning bitter. She believed sorrow had become her identity. Many people know what that feels like. To experience loss so deep that it begins to define how you see yourself. To wonder whether joy belongs to someone else now. To wonder whether God still sees you. Naomi could not see what was ahead, but God could. The harvest season had begun, and Ruth decided to gather leftover grain from the fields so they would have food. Every morning, she worked from sunrise until evening. Hot sun, dusty ground, hard labor, one handful at a time. One day, she entered a field owned by a man named Boaz. The Bible quietly says something remarkable. It says, she happened to come to his field. But those who know God's ways understand something deeper. What looks like coincidence often turns out to be providence. Boaz noticed Ruth immediately. Not because she was seeking attention, not because she was trying to impress anyone, but because others had already spoken about her loyalty. They had heard how she cared for Naomi, how she left everything behind, how she remained faithful when it would have been easier to walk away. Character has a way of speaking before a person ever says a word. Boaz showed kindness to Ruth. He protected her, provided for her, encouraged her. And over time, a beautiful story began unfolding. A story neither Ruth nor Naomi could have imagined on that lonely road leaving Moab. Eventually, Boaz redeemed the family inheritance and married Ruth. The widow, who once had no future, now had a home. The woman who arrived as a foreigner became part of God's covenant people. The woman who chose loyalty over convenience discovered that God had been writing a greater story all along. Soon, Ruth gave birth to a son. And something remarkable happened. The women of Bethlehem gathered around Naomi, not Ruth, Naomi. The same Naomi who believed her story was over. The same Naomi who believed bitterness would define the rest of her life, now held a child in her arms. A new beginning, a new chapter, a new hope. That child was named Obed. Obed became the father of Jesse. Jesse became the father of King David. And generations later, through that same family line, Jesus Christ would enter the world. Think about that. Ruth did not know she was stepping into the family line of the Messiah. She thought she was simply helping Naomi survive. She thought she was making a small choice on a lonely road. But God was weaving her faithfulness into a story that would bless the entire world. And perhaps that is the lesson hidden inside this bedtime story. You may not know what God is doing through your obedience today, the phone call you make, the person you help, the promise you keep, the act of kindness nobody notices. The decision to stay faithful when walking away would be easier. You see only the moment. God sees the generations. Ruth never saw the whole picture. She simply took the next faithful step. And that step changed everything. As you rest tonight, remember this. The choices that seem smallest to you may be the very choices God uses most powerfully. Like Ruth, you may not understand where the road leads, but faithfulness is not about seeing the destination. It is about trusting the one who does. And sometimes, the loyalty that feels unnoticed today becomes the story people remember forever. Sleep peacefully, and remember, God is often working through ordinary faithfulness to accomplish extraordinary things. The God who guided Ruth's path is still guiding yours. Good night.